Hello everybody, welcome back to FTL Mod Season 3. Last episode was the Lanius Frigates. We're continuing on that with the final ship in that set, the Anaelisk, still being joined by Federation Scum, who is also the creator of this mod. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Alright, the Anaelisk, give it to us. Sit rep.
The Anaelisk is basically a result of what would a alliance between the Lanius and the Crystals be like. I always kind of assume that the two might have been ancient enemies. Like, the reason why the Crystals have a natural ability to reduce their suffocation damage is probably a reaction to the Lanius' ability to suck the air out of rooms that they're in. And the fact that they're both very good at boarding also kind of makes it seem like they would be rivals at that too. So we combine their abilities into one ship, and I also shifted over the focus where the other two frigates are more defensive in nature. This one has a more offensively oriented drone, which essentially just, well, I'd rather not spoil it now. I might as well let you just see what happens, but it is pretty interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. I already started to run.
Needless to say, though, it's I think this is probably one of my favorite ships just because of how it looks, and the layout is also more random, not as obsessive compulsive about symmetry.
Crystal ships don't tend to play by those rules anyway. Usually just a haphazard of rooms, a gigantic ship with a gigantic layout that doesn't really make much sense. This one being a bit smaller in accordance to the other frigates.
Actually, this one has probably one of the largest layouts. It fills a lot more space, even compared to the Omniscience.
Okay, well, it's a good thing our first ship couldn't really hurt me. Noticing you start off with a drone that you can't immediately use. I'm guessing it's going to be something the same lines of the anti-drone drone.
Well, I think you mean the scatter drone.
Well, I'm calling it an yeah, that one.
Originally, it did only use 2 power, but it didn't have much long-term use, so I basically improved it a bit, but obviously it needs a balancing factor so that you don't immediately have that kind of power starting out.
Well, I got it up just to see what it ends up doing. Not enough power, right? We need another one. Crystal lockdown.
Phase Ion Mark II.
Aha. So it causes breaches.
What does that do?
Phase ion, just a piercing ion, 1 ion damage, nothing much more than that. We're gonna have to take a look at what the hell is going on there now, because this looks pretty darn good. Alright, breach chance and a lockdown. That can be quite dangerous if you actually manage to find a teleporter as well.
It can be, but it's actually pretty proficient on its own as well.
Well, on ships with only 1 shield later, it's pretty darn good. How much does it pierce anyway?
Actually, it pierces 2 layers of shields.
Well, it practically took a ship out all by itself, so...
Yeah, it can be pretty good, but it can also be pretty countered, just because of how slow it moves and the fact that the projectiles can be targeted by defense drones. It can be countered entirely.
Means you can use them to counter those, so. Pretty much the same ship I just fought the first time, so. Alright. So it looks like a teleporter is something that would be highly encouraged. I'm assuming it is purchasable.
Yep. The only thing is, though, as much as I'd like to assume that a Crystal Lanius boarding party would be work out rather well, well, the thing is, I don't think a Crystal's lockdown would last long enough for them to do a whole lot of damage. And not only that, but the room wouldn't vent entirely before the enemies encroached in the room. But there is a bit of an unspoken benefit with the ship, in that, well, one, you have a crystal, so you can do the crystal quest more easily.
Yeah.
And two, if you happen to get a hold of that stasis pod, you have a chance of getting a second crystal crew member and, get a two-man crystal boarding party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or two Laniuses. I mean, you got pick a litter there.
Yeah, pretty much it creates a powerful two crystal, Lanius boarding crash team, or one team goes in and the other follows them up.
Mm-hmm. Well, so far the drone is really making short work of these one shield layered ships, so I'm liking it. When you destroy the oxygen with your own weapons, and it takes forever for them to actually get to it. In the meantime, you're causing breaches everywhere, sucking the air out even quicker.
Yeah, might as well like that as much as you can, because there are several other weaknesses. For one, if the weapons room goes down, it's going to take a long time to get your offenses back on the rise. I mean, as much as the drone will cause chaos on the enemy ship, it will not do any damage whatsoever. So you're either hoping that you can get your offense back up, or that they all suffocate to death.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it really destroys crew movement on the ship, so that is kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, I spoke with the Style SRJ about it before. Basically, he explained to me that anytime there is any kind of hazard on the ship, or any kind of damage, even if it's like a breach, somebody will have to go fix it. Anybody, it doesn't matter what. Which can create some interesting predicaments that really work out in your benefit. Like, I remember using it on a Mantis ship, right? And there's always like one NG on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I caused a breach in an empty room below the weapons room. And the NG was desperately trying to hammer away to get into that empty room to fix that breach. Why? To take out the weapons room. And he didn't even change his mind. He was still trying to get to the breached room. And the Mantis went to go fix it. But yeah.
The unfortunate part of all this is that I'm now fighting a station who actually has O2 masks. Which means this all takes a bit longer than it should.
Yeah, but don't get too comfortable though. This drone does start to show some weaknesses in late game, because it depends on you keeping the shields down long enough for it to fire some crystals. But
yeah, I'm assuming that's where
hopefully
boarding and such comes in.
Yeah, but if you have weapons that can support the drone well enough, then you can still benefit from it and not have to get two crystals or even use your crystal member at all. You can just send in your Lanius to take care of everything.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I'll try to get a teleporter just because I'm not trying to beat the game. This is just a normal showcase. So, yeah. We'll see what we can pull up with here. So I'm using the drone every time, even though I don't really need it. Two breaches and engines already. You're not going anywhere. The fun thing is when you lock someone in a room with a breach and he's trying to get out. He's like, yeah, nope. Oh, and there goes the crystal. No, he lives. With 1 health left. Alright,
You might want to respawn him just in case.
well, don't plan on
If you
using
lose him, you're not going to get him back. Ever.
You have a clone base, so I think it's
Yeah, but
I know what you're talking about.
you just don't want to go down in the middle of battle, though.
Yeah, that's true.
My video feed's a bit laggy, so it's more like a slideshow to me.
Brilliant.
But I do see the tremendous amount of breaches all over that space station.
It's brilliant. Oh, I thought oxygen would have been connected to drone control. It isn't.
Yeah, that was deliberate. I decided I wanted to split the ship up into two different halves, kind of to mirror Crystal B's layout.
Yeah. Well, not much is happening on there, and Pretty sure they just can't get to where they want to go. But they do seem to be doing a lot of damage with that cluster bomb. Always hitting shields, always hitting drones, and always hitting weapons. It's like they know what systems to hit.
Yeah, I'll have to admit, I'm not really too crazy about the heavy laser design. It looks kind of fat.
It is fat. One of these days I'll get all my stuff back and then you'll pay. I swear to God, every bomb they shot, one of those hit my shields. Enough.
Oh, is that a fire cluster bomb?
Nah. It's a normal one. With a low chance of fire, but you know, just FTL things. Alright, let's destroy this. You've caused enough problems for me. Alright. The Zoltan ship. Good thing I got those shields. So the lockdown doesn't do anything against Zoltan shields, which makes sense because it has no damage to it.
Yes, but there was an interesting perk that I would say I discovered it all. I just found it out, but since they don't do any kind of damage whatsoever, it ignores Zoltan shields entirely.
Fortunately, it by itself isn't going to do me any good. So many misses. I think I'm going to have to let this one slide. Yep, time to go. There we go. Should be easy.
Whoa. My broadcast just skipped like into the future.
Welcome to the
I was like
future.
still watching you fight. I was still watching you fight that pirated rebel ship, and now all of a sudden I saw the end of the Zoltan fight.
Well, the Zoltan fight didn't go very well. I mean, missed half my shots with the crystal burst, so...
Oh well.
Alright, let's see what's happening. We've got an NG trying to breach through this... Oh, he made it. Trapping enemy crew in rooms with 2 breaches in them. Brilliant. But yeah, the crystal lockdown, it's pretty good. Pretty darn good. Interesting concept. I don't think it's been done before, even in Captain's Edition. I know they got crystal drones, which I'm assuming is where the art comes from.
Yeah, this is based on the Crystal Combat. I believe the original Crystal Combat was basically just a combat drone, except it fired crystals instead of lasers.
Alright, so I just ran into the rebel fleet through my own stupidity. Too busy watching the pretty colors. Oh my control the pilot, I need him to get out of here. Ah, great. Shields are already on fire. Now I'm gonna restart the run. Blew it. You don't want to run into rebel fleet in Captain's Edition. You were saying...
Why? Isn't the artillery worse in Captain's Edition?
They got 2 types of it. One being the standard ASB, the other one being the PDS, which takes a lot longer to load up, but when it does hit you, yeah, you're not in a good spot. the problem is it's much more common. Like, if you get caught by the rebel fleet, no matter where, you're gonna get ASB. Usually, I believe on AE when you were in a nebula, you didn't get ASB here. Oh yeah, you do. So.
What a shame. Oh.
I mean, running into the fleet should be more dangerous than it is on standard AE. It's like, yeah, the rebel fleet, we know, but not too much really happens.
I don't know. It's still pretty dangerous. I mean, that you're still getting bombarded, and the rebel ship that engages you is pretty dangerous on its own.
Here it's even worse. Not combining that with the fact that you need a lot more fuel to get around through the hyperspace event. I mean, we all know Captain Edition does make the game harder and stuff like that, but, you know, I enjoy most of the changes.
I don't know. Some of them are a few of the changes are pretty good in my opinion. I'm more of a fan of the non-combat stuff than the weapons and drone extras.
Yeah.
I mean, those extra defense drones are kind of iffy. Why would I want a drone that takes 30 seconds to reload?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it only takes 1 power, but, you know. It'll shoot down one
but
missile,
why would you want to buy it?
Isn't it only like 10 scrap or something? I mean, if you really can't find a decent defense drone, I suppose it's better than nothing, but even still. I suppose it's more for the enemy's use. I do like the fact what they did with the anti-combat drones. Those, the one in Standard E is pretty horrible, I would say.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It only ever targets drones that come near it, and it can miss entirely and take a long time to reload. By which point it's already out of range.
And even then, when it hits, you're not entirely sure if it'll take it out the drone or just stun it for a little bit.
Yes, that's part of the reason why people are so down on Stealth C, because its anti-combat drone is not reliable by any means. If it had now, with the effector in combat Captain's Edition, I think, all things considered, I think Stealth C did get many more improvements in Captain's Edition. Not Stealth B, though. Stealth B was ruined.
Yeah, definitely. And the same has to be said about Stealth A. I can't play any of the stealth ships anymore. I mean, they got rid of the dual laser for one of those scatter lasers that also fires 2 shots but don't do system damage. I mean, the whole point of the Stealth A is to dodge the first volley and then use your weapons to take out his. If you can only do 1 system damage through the mini beam, it's not gonna happen.
Oh, yes. All I can say, though, is that Stealth C at least won't get completely raped by drones, and it has a triple laser and a focus beam that gets up to 2 power per shot. Granted, though, it's not going to do as much hull damage, but I don't know. It has longer. I guess it has much more long-term durability. Then again, I never really played it that much on Captain's Edition, so I may be just talking out of my ass right there.
No, I get what you're saying, but then again, it's been a while since I just played standard Captain Edition as well. Last thing I did was the hard runs, and let's see, you're just a slow one. Level 2 defense drone versus the lockdown bomb. Yeah, it does seem to be countering most of it. Well, most of it. It only took 1 shot yet, but and it's not quick enough to stop the second. Good. So now I'm using the crystal lockdown as a distraction for their defensive drone. Okay.
Well, that is another thing I didn't really consider. I guess it is a very good distraction so that your other crystal weapon can actually do damage. Otherwise, you would lose a whole entire shot. Or 2, even.
Oh, this is looking like a genuine mess. Brilliant. Man, the crystal drone, if you allow it to do some work, it can really mess up ships. It's a good thing it
Yeah, but
costs
you
3
definitely
power.
need to support it.
Yeah, that is true, but same goes for any weapon. I mean, even the mighty Vulcan, in between quotes, needs something to keep evasion down.
That you want, and you need something to keep your weapon room from getting hit. Otherwise, if that thing gets disabled at any time, everything will just go down the shitter. I remember playing Rock A at one point, and I had dual Vulcans. And what happened is that the flagship hacked my weapons room and then set it on fire and caused a breach. And I tried getting everyone in there to fix it up, but it wasn't enough.
I mean,
The
yeah,
fire spread quicker than my engines could fix it.
fire and breach means they really want the thing gone.
Well, it worked, and I was just too stubborn to run away, which is something I have learned a lesson for in future playthroughs, to run away if they hack your most important system.
Recently learned that there was also a 0th turn on the countdown timer. It was at, what was it? Like 1, and then I jumped to the base and I thought, okay, this is it, I'm dead now. Turns out you are not. I believe that was the case on pre-AE though. Also reminds me of a story I once had with a bit of a conflict between two mods. I had Cap Position installed and the some kind of balance mod. They both added to the flagships fight, and the combination of those was just impossible. I ended up in solar flare thanks to Cap Position, and the flagship hacked my engines down to 1 because of the balance mod. I was like, what?
Wait, what? So how exactly But I'm pretty sure the hacking, what it does is that it just disables your engines for a bit. What do you mean it took it down to 1?
Through the event, you know, you got that event from pirates that disable your engines to bare minimum.
Alright.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, I remember now.
Turns out I shouldn't have installed both those mods at the same time. Took the worst draw from all possible possibilities, so to say.
How is that even balanced? You basically just said, you know what, I think you're just too well equipped for this. We're going to go ahead and give the flagship a chance and take your engines completely out. You know, it's not like the flagship is a threat. It's not like you've been building your ship up for this moment. No, we're just going to take it all away.
I believe when I made note of it on the forum post of it, just redo the math here first. Here, okay. But I did complain about that. They said, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen, and it got patched, so it only took out 4 of your bars, up to a minimum of 1. But it was the entire combination of Cap Position putting me in a solar flare and that one that really screwed me over at the end of things. Oh well. Yeah, more experience richer.
Let's see, what is that other weapon? An Ares missile?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, isn't that a normal weapon? From, I don't know.
Ares? I don't think so.
4 damage, breach, and fire.
That probably then would be a breach missile, but then again, a breach missile uses 3 power and it does 4 regular damage. I'm not sure. Does the areas do 4 if you hit a systemless room?
No, I don't think so. Powerful but boring missile. Require power 2, charge time 20, requires missile, normal damage 4, shield piercing 5, fire chance, and breach chance both low, and a stun of 3 seconds.
That's ridiculous. A 4 damaging missile that takes 2 power. It's almost as good as an Artemis.
Yeah. Actually, now you think about it, yeah. Then again, it does have a charge time of 20 seconds, but even then. Oh, just got a pike beam, which is probably what I'm going to try and get up. Problem is, crystal weaponry and beams tend not to play well together.
Well, that's mainly because the crystals can't hit shields unless there's more than one.
And even then, they
That's
can't bring
mainly
them
it.
down completely.
Indeed. I'm trying to think of a complement for crystal weapons, and I cannot quite think of a particular weapon that works well with crystals.
Getting boarded by 2 mantises. Mantises meet my Lanius.
One other little-known fact about crystal crewmen is that they do make very good security men. If you want to restrict access of of an area of the ship from enemy crewmen, or if you want to trap them, like if you vented part of your ship and they're trying to run away into a certain towards your crystal, you can activate the crystal lockdown as they're trying to bang at the door. And even though they could run in the opposite direction that isn't being locked down, they'll continually keep trying to break the door down and suffocate.
Yeah, that is true. I don't think a lot of people use the crystal lockdown defensively. Mostly go like, okay, it's great for boarding, and that's kind of it. So yeah, it's nice to know that there is still potential for defense with that. Let's see what we're doing here. I can't see what the enemy crew is doing. Thanks, Nebula.
With a ship like that, it's pretty safe to assume that there's probably 3 or 4 Mantis and an NG in there.
I don't think there's an NG in there. I don't hear regular laser shots. Which I find odd. How the hell am I able to hear the enemy shoot when I don't have anyone on there? But whatever. And they're dead. With the crew dead, you should ship another weapon found. Brilliant. Ion Burst Mark II. Alright, so 2 upgrades to the weapons would cost me. Ooh! Weapon control has been lowered as far as upgrades go.
Yeah. That was the main rule with this ship, remember? That the weapons can only be upgraded to 6, and drones can be upgraded to 10.
Yeah.
Drone upgrades were also made cheaper, and a bit cheaper, so that they could be more realistically obtainable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess I'm gonna wait then. Don't have the scrap for it anyway. We're gonna need power. We're gonna be stuck in this nebula for a bit, which is unfortunate.
Ion Burst Mark II. That fires 2 ion shots, doesn't it? 3? That's nice. Definitely should work in getting that equipped then.
Yeah.
Give you some longevity.
Problem is I also have that pike beam. I could go those with the pike, but
You could, but
technically with Crystal Burst 1 and that ion, I can take down every ship I come across. It would be painstakingly slow against force shields, but it could work. Oh, come on, don't cloak now.
more or less. All that really matters is just being able to do damage no matter how slow. Although realistically, yeah. Well, the thing about this ship is that you mainly want to focus on, aside from getting some powerful weapons that can reliably take down shields, because you can't really go with weaker weapons because that's very unreliable. This is also, the ship's also emphasizing you want to look for drones. And a lockdown drone, now that I think about it, doesn't really have much compatibility with other drones. Like, with a combat drone, it's not going to be taking down shields with the combat drone. All it'll really be doing is messing with the crew, and that's about it.
I mean, messing with the crew can be viable. I mean, if you can keep them out of the shields room, for example, forcing them to not be able to repair that.
Perhaps. Well, I do remember that the Captain's Edition did have a flash grenade drone that basically was really annoying as hell to deal with.
Yeah. It's a good thing about it is, though, it doesn't work like that when you are the one using it. It just makes the beeping noise and, yeah, that's it. You don't get that big white blob.
I'm assuming its targeting is based on rooms rather than an area of the ship.
Yeah, it just hits one room and the white thing is just a giant image of it.
Look at the sword, I just heard a fire going.
Could be. Pirate Black Market. Yeah, sure, we'll try it. Guess we're gonna have to. I can't vent. That way I can. An airlock and shields room is always handy.
Yeah, this ship's got airlocks just about everywhere.
Alright, let's start taking out some of the other weapons. One of the few things where auction going down isn't the end of the world. Targeting your enemy's auction is a big help, especially when you get the drone online. You're gonna have to move. I always get messed up with the fact there's no door between auction and drone control. It's funny.
Yeah, it's a bit misleading. I mean, it would be so easy to just shove a door in there, but then where would the fun be in that? It wouldn't be a crystal layout.
That's true. Once the air gets back, we can actually... Oh, and they're dead. Ion field. Could use that a bit back. Wait.
Despite how it looks, though,
Oh,
the ship...
I just got the
What
most
happened?
amazing combat augment. Disrupts the enemy shield system and permanently depletes one shield bubble. 3 power combat augment. Nice.
Assuming it works.
I think the one with weapons can fail, but I don't think I've ever seen the shield one fail. Especially because the enemy shields start to crackle, sending electricity discharges everywhere. It seems the ion field works well. Oh no, don't tell me it's some bastards. That's the one thing I hate about Captain's Edition. There's drones in there that fire missiles / mines. If you can't take that thing out quick, you're pretty much boned. Crud.
Yeah, so because we have to remember this is a game that's all about sick humor.
I mean, the mines can be shot down if you have pretty easily if you have a defense drone, but if you don't have one of those, well, tough luck. You're going to be eating a lot of damage.
At least the Omniscience would never be dealing with that. That effector would be destroying them. Oh well.
That is true. Alright, let's go have a look in sensor, see what's what. Oh, I got a repair drone as well. Nah, that's not gonna help. Oh, a surprising good amount of mines have missed, even though I only have 29% dodge chance, but still, everyone that hits is a nuisance. Alright.
You might be better off just running from the fight if you are taking too much and you can't disable them fast enough.
I can't. Problem is he also started running, so I had to make a choice. Do I let him run or do I destroy... Ah, come on. I can't buy slavers, so I'm just gonna ignore you. Pulsar. Yeah, give it a go.
Famous last words.
Yep.
Pulsar. Let's go there.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? Oh wait, everything. Then again, shields don't matter because you got an ion weapon and a missile launcher. I mean,
If you say so, but that isn't stopping a Pulsar from putting on its best troll face and disabling your weapons but leaving theirs intact.
wait, how the
And
hell?
just to put a cherry on top, just to put a cherry on top, the ionization will last for 15 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. A Pulsar hit the Zoltan Super Shield for 3. How can it do
Just
3? Ion damage is doubled against Zoltan Shield, so it's impossible to have an odd number.
Oh, that's indeed very peculiar.
Whatever.
Maybe it's maybe it's conflicting with the ion field. Maybe there's something going on there. I don't know.
The ion field just... that could... No, because it hit the Zoltan Shield and nothing but the Zoltan Shield. Very strange.
Very.
Anyway, I don't think they're gonna last too much longer. Most important bits are done. Oh yeah, that's not looking good. Ah, we got a crew member. Hello, Rockman. How are you doing today? Okay. Well, got out of Sector 2 probably, so... okay. Artemis Effector, Crew Teleporter, which I can't buy. Price is at 80. I remember that being 90. Well, we're gonna buy it. Just to try out the synergy there. I mean, we've got an extra crew member, so we can do it. Alright, so what would be your best boarding strategy? Lanius Crystal or double Lanius?
Preferably, the more tried and true method is double Lanius. Because the thing is, when you send in the crystal and the Lanius, the crystal can buy you some time to kill a particular crewman, invent a room, or do damage to a system if there's no crewman in there. But it doesn't really last as long as you'd like. With two Lanius, the room is vented quicker, but you will be engaged by the full allotment of crew in whatever room you're in. But once it's vented, the advantage in combat turns to your favor, unless it's like Mantis and there's like a whole fucking battalion of them in that ship.
Yeah, you know how that is. Then again, Lanius boarding has been tested plentiful, and it is pretty viable. Guess we'll find out now.
On its own, without any support weaponry whatsoever, Lanius boarding parties are probably the best boarding parties of all time. Mainly because they can, once they've vented a room, they can probably cancel out the advantage of a med bay, although I wouldn't recommend throwing them into a med bay, because that's just dangerous thinking there. Not to mention they would still have lower HP, and the fight would still be in the enemy's favor.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of is a barrier for any boarding party, so even negating that fact, the Lanius boarding party still has a lot more clout and more room to do what they need to do than other boarding parties without any kind of support weaponry to speak of.
Well, you're not wrong. They're doing quite well on the weapons. Problem is I'm in an ion storm, so I'm losing half of my reactor power, but... And the freaking ship
sure
has
people will be
system
disappointed.
plating. God damn it, every single time. Sleeper really enjoys putting half of the ship equipped with those system platings.
Pretty sure that only really applies to this particular model, this
No,
particular
there's a ton
ship,
of
and
AI ships. Oh crap.
the AI ships too, but that applies to them and this ship only. Yeah, you don't really see it on the other ones. And good thing too, unless it's the Rebel flagship, and that's a different story.
That thing can have a number of things. I do wonder how he pulled that off. Like sometimes it has an ion field, sometimes it has system casings, maybe it has them all and I just don't know it every time because they don't always have ion weapons, but quite peculiar. Anyway. First test went well. You know, the thing about Lanius, and I don't know if it was by accident or not, is you can't freaking kill him if you want him to be dead. When you got a clone bay and stuff like that. Okay, he's got a little health. Okay, jamming an airlock. Oh wait, that doesn't work on Lanius. Yeah.
Yep. It is a bit annoying sometimes, but that's usually, if that's the case, normally, if you have the opportunity to let them get murdered, you can just let them get killed and just finish off the enemy with a gunshot.
That or upgrade your clone base so it doesn't matter as much. Alright, now we're out of fuel as well. Brilliant.
I'm sure some people will find it tragic that the Crystal Lanius boarding party is not as amazing as they were hoping. But then again, if you do get more crystals and more Lanius, and you have 2 Lanius and 2 crystals on the enemy ship, then they can do pretty well. No ship will ever survive you. It's just impossible. Just about.
Alright, emergency fuel supplies got me to a store, surprisingly.
You know, I just now remembered that when that fuel bot comes around and gives you emergency fuel, and he's like, "You have used your credit for this," and then you are out of fuel again, and you run into him, and you ask for emergency fuel. It's like you've already reached your maximum limit, and then he attacks you because he's mad that you're not buying his fuel. No, I'm just saying, like, that would be kind of amusing if it were the case.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it couldn't happen. Pretty sure the event is unique. Oh, we got more borders.
I'm not saying it does happen. I'm sure if someone were to hear that right now, they would go like, no, that never happens. What are you talking about?
Alright, let's try it. I got borders in my teleport and the the drone control. So I've sent the the crystal. I'm gonna start over because it's way worse than it is. I got borders in drone control, so I send my crystal to the teleporter, which I'm now gonna lock down, and then I'm gonna open the airlock in drone control. And that works. Brilliant. Good use of using lockdown defensively. And now I'm killing my human because he's standing next to 2 Lanius. Brilliant.
What a shame.
Should have actually sent some of the doors, but no. Lanius can probably
demonstrate crystals on the walls first.
Alright, so I got some crew that I can use to do proper boarding. So now we're going to check boarding combined with the crystal lockdown, if I ever get enough power to do it all.
Well, if they can't hurt you as much, you could just take power away from your crystal weapon and just depend on boarding entirely to do your job.
Which is what I'm sort of doing right now. I mean, it's an AI ship, so Lanius rule on that front.
The Lanius are a very reliable counter against AI ships, at least at the very least they can disable systems entirely, since the AI has any kind of defense whatsoever.
Well, they can on cap position. I've seen AI ships with drone control that had an anti-personnel drone.
Oh, it's true. That's
Great.
mainly is limited to like bounty hunter variants.
Yeah. It's a bit of a blast though when you poured in an AI ship with 2 mantis when you have a level 2 teleport and then it has an anti-personnel drone. Oh, yep, I'm not getting those back.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's a real pickle if you're trying to use the Federation C in that case, since you're mostly dependent on spamming your boarding parties all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, come on, just give me something where I can properly board. Alright, pirate fighter with 1 layer of shields in an asteroid field and I can take away your 1 shield layer. I have to do this. You're just gonna get wrecked by drones. And you're boarding me with an human. Alright, smart move. I'm actually gonna send a rock out after you. Keep my Lanius healthy. You kind of have to wonder what goes through these people's minds with lying in ambush in an asteroid field with only 1 shield layer. I mean, like,
Doesn't make as much sense as those AI ships that have no shields at all, no cloaking to speak of, and they're just sitting there waiting for you to show up. And quite realistically, the moment you get ambushed by them, they're just about to fire, and an asteroid destroys them.
Yeah. It's like, how the hell did you survive for so long? Can't upgrade here because I'm in an asteroid field.
Quite a blast. You know, realistically, they say that an asteroid thicket like this would never exist in real life.
Probably not, no.
Because, realistically, asteroids may look like they're very close together, but in reality, they're actually very far apart.
Mm-hmm.
Like several kilometers between any 2 asteroids. But then again, we have to remember that space is pretty fucking big. And even when you look at it from a distance, it looks like they're so close, but really that's because you're just looking from light years away. If you were on one of those asteroids, you probably would not be seeing another one that easily.
No.
I don't think I'd even want to go to asteroid regardless. You were saying?
That I'm being boarded by a big crew, and they managed to take out my doors. Okay, doors are functioning again. Let's vent this shite out of everything. Human's gonna die through suffocation. There he goes. Clone bay is offline. Now it's not. Where are you all going? Got an airlock in there too, you know. I need to jump. Now. Alright. It's always sketchy jumping when you have enemy crew on board your own ship. Or fires or any of the likes.
Sometimes you just have to make that jump, or things could get a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. Let's do some boarding now. And there goes my shields. Brilliant. Well, they got a lot of crew on board. Then again, that is normal for stations.
Six crew, just about.
Come on, get that shield up. Good.
I would probably recommend taking out oxygen.
I'm trying to, but I need the weapons gone first. Alright, you should be on engines. You should be on piloting. You should be there.
It's risky business having them attack in a room that is not as essential to the crew's life support or just keeping the crew in action. Because if they outnumber your Lanius by a whole lot, even the Lanius's ability isn't going to give them much of an edge. Not unless you have like 4 Lanius in there.
Mm. Then again, they have no way of healing them, so every bit of crew damage you do is something that'll stick around. Okay, let's get in there again. And I mean, a lucky shot from your drone can go a long way. Does it actually do crew damage? No, it doesn't, right?
I don't think so, no. Just breaches and lockdowns. It's basically just a big disruption. I imagine if it did do crew damage, though, actually, no. Light lasers ignore Zoltan shields, right?
Yep.
So I guess, well, actually, no, in retrospect, the thing is, if it did do crew damage, then it wouldn't be very good at supporting your borders either, because if your borders got shot, then they would take damage, and that could be just enough to kill them.
That is indeed a thing. Right, running out of fuel again. I think the run isn't gonna last too much longer. It seems, despite me boarding every time and killing crew.
It seems to be a very regular thing in these runs. You always run out of fuel.
Yep, and I got ASB as well. GG. Well, looking at the time, it seems like a good spot to end it anyway. So, we're not going out on a high note because I'm going to be dead soon, but...
Yeah, but then again, this Captain's Edition is still optional. Meaning, on CLAE, even on hard mode, your chances of survival are not as dismal, as long as you play your cards right.
And there goes the drone as well. Got the final ASB coming in. If the missile doesn't take me out first. Nope. Still got 1 health point left. Right. And he's out of missiles, but that doesn't matter one bit. Yep, we're dead. Alright, well, we're gonna cut it here then. We're gonna have a quick look at it at the hangar. Say the last things that need to be said. Alright, so the Anaelisk. Personally, Crystal Lockdown, it's a great thing. I have to say it. You build an entire strategy around that thing alone, I'm assuming. If you can keep that thing going, you can really mess up your enemies pretty darn heftily. But other than... what can you buy? Teleporter and Cloak?
Yeah, there is obviously quite a few strategies that can work with the Crystal Lockdown, but mainly boarding with Lanius and Crystal is definitely your best asset. I would have to say that if with this ship you actually have a pretty good opportunity with getting a second Crystal one way or another, and if you do, then you're pretty much golden. You will have quite a blast just going through every enemy ship that you come across and just destroying everything.
Yep. So, extra systems you can buy on here are the teleporter and the cloaking. That's it, right?
Yes, as it's still a older modeled ship.
Mm-hmm. So technically, your best bet, if you want your best bet chance for survival, you're better off playing this without the Advanced Edition content. No, because you got a clone bay. But I think that still works, doesn't it? Now I want to find that out.
Probably not.
No. No, you're right. It doesn't work. Shoot. Oh well. Then again, you're only missing out on hacking mind control battery. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
It really looks like your entire strategy will hinge on that Crystal Lockdown, because we've seen it do amazing things here, so your weapons will be there to support that thing, combined with any other drone you can find. So, considering it's a drone ship, finding a drone to cover around would be great. But yeah, I mean, you've beaten this on hard, right?
No, I've only beaten it on normal, but that normal run was kind of piss easy, honestly, because by that point I had weapons pre-igniter, I had a flak 2, I forget what my other weapon was, but I was able to do damage regardless, and I had 2 crystals and 2 Lanius as my borders. So basically, what I would do is I would send the crystals in first to lock down, kill any crew in the room that was isolated, and just damage the system.
Mm-hmm.
And after the teleport recharge, the Lanius would go in at a different part of the ship to draw attention away and also do their thing. Together, they would do amazing cleanup because crystals eventually get their abilities recharged and they can lock down a room again and assure the destruction of the system, or they can regroup and their resistance to suffocation and their better health makes them great partners with Lanius for time.
Yeah.
So yeah, is extremely powerful boarding strategy. Probably the most powerful thing that. And I should also mention this does not require any support from weapons to work. It's literally just coming down to crewmen.
Crew, yeah.
So
Good boarding strategy can go a long way, especially if you have the crew to support it.
as for drones, though, if you can get your hands on a good assortment of drones, and this really applies to any of the frigates, if you can get a good amount of drones, like some defense drones, maybe a shield overcharger, maybe an effector. Actually, I don't think the effector's in stores, but if you, I guess it really just depends on if you're playing Captain's Edition or not. But whatever the case is, get a good collection of drones, get a good crew. Make sure you have weapons that can actually do damage. You should be just fine.
Even that or drones. I mean, seeing how drones can go up to 10 power, you can really get your stuff on that. I mean, you lose 3 if you want to keep the crystal log down, which is something you should probably do. But yeah, with then a total of 7 power left for 3 slots, you can do some good things. I mean, 2 combat 2s or something. I mean, in an ideal situation, that would be quite something. A defense drone, 2 combat mark 2s with a drone recovery arm, and I don't think anything is going to stop you, even if you don't bother with a teleporter. But yeah, that's not really the strategy of this ship, so.
Well, there's quite a few ways you can go with this particular ship. A bit more so, arguably, than the other two. Frigates. And that's mainly because it's a more offensive-oriented ship. It's more about overwhelming your enemy and causing confusion and keeping them from doing their job properly than just keeping your ship from taking hits.
Well, I'm looking at the time, and I'd rather not go over the 1 hour mark, so I'm going to cut it here. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you're still enjoying the series. Feel free to show support by commenting, liking, and or subbing. Feel free to drop links in the description if you want a mod showcased. Thank you, Federation Scum, for being here.
No problem.
And I'll be seeing you guys in the next mod showcase. Bye, everyone.
See ya.